This is a video talking about the Rogue and why I use it so much and why personally it's my favorite plane. Also think it's the best plane, but I'll get into more of that later. But anyways, this is kind of like, depending on how old you are to the channel, this is kind of like my Seabreeze video where I just walked around it explaining it. Except this time I'm gonna try to include some clips trying to further explain what I'm talking about. Yeah, this video is going to be cringe because I'm not good at doing this on the fly shit. There's no script for this at all. I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head. It can't be as cringe as the last one, but bear with me because this isn't going to be very how should I say it, funny, I guess. But anyway, to get into my first point with the Rogue, it's a pretty cheap plane, which is, it's very cheap for how good it is, because it's only $1.2 million if you have the trade price. And it's I think it's 1.8 or something around there if you don't, for just a base plane. When you get it, it doesn't come with weapons or upgraded handling or armor. It has a little bit of armor, I believe, but when you get it, it's just bare bones. It's just a training plane, and then obviously you can upgrade it for another, let's say, $600,000 to get all the weapons, including explosive cannons, missiles, bombs, etc., countermeasures. There's two primary weapons, that being the 7.62 machine guns and the explosive cannons, which I have here. And if you have the fucking machine guns, you're obviously a retard, because there's no use for those. Excuse that. And then you have the missiles, which I love. They're basic missiles, but I used to be a Seabreeze pilot, so having any missiles is a great fucking advantage over that stupid piece of shit seaplane. I still love it, though. And obviously, the last weapon it has is bombs, and obviously always go for explosive bombs. I'd say the second best option is incendiary, because they're closest to explosive, but there is no reason to use anything else. As you can see, it is a two-seater, which is very handy if you have friends and you need to pick them up. It's the second fastest plane in the game, just behind the Pyro, just ahead of the Hydra. Which is kind of surprising considering it's a fucking turboprop plane, but that's Rockstar for you. It's got the same armor as every other Smuggler's Run plane, including the Seabreeze and the Pyro, etc. But it is much harder to hit than those planes because they are way skinnier. Actually, I'll try to put a picture of a comparison of a laser and this plane. As you can see, it's way skinnier, so obviously, and you're going to be going way faster in any of those planes aside from the Pyro, which is also way fatter in this, but you're going to be going really quick and you're really skinny, so armor is, depends on how you look at it, but it's probably one of the best planes aside from the B-11, because that's literally a fucking tank. But yeah, you really don't want to take any explosive rounds from this, because yeah, it doesn't really handle it well. If you get hit anywhere in the tail, you're fucking done. If you get hit in the wing, your maneuverability is drastically hindered, and you'll have to just run away and go repair. Which of course you can do, because like I said, it's pretty much the fastest plane in the game, so nothing can really catch up to you. Unless they're in a Pyro. But usually that's not a factor, so. What else? So, a lot of people think this plane is pretty ass, and I see where they're coming from, because back in the day when I was a Seabreeze pilot, every time I saw one of these I would fucking chuckle. It was no threat at all, because most people that flew them were complete hot ass, and I fucking thought the plane was ass because of that. I didn't realize it's just the pilots until I started actually using it a little bit. I was always interested in it, but I always thought it was bad, so I never really used it. But then I kind of got tired of the low firepower of the Seabreeze. I mean, it was a good plane and all, but it just lacks the firepower like this thing. I mean, this thing has everything you need. It has the cannons for anti-vehicle, mainly just unarmored vehicles, but they can do some work on unarmed or some armored vehicles like the Duke of Death. And of course you have missiles for, you know, keeping Mark IIs off your friends, or diversions. If you need a jet that's running away to turn around, shoot one of those. And they're also pretty good for ground attack if you run out of bombs, or if you need range. And then obviously it has the bombs, which, you know, enough said. You can decimate lobbies with them. It has the countermeasures. So yeah, it has really everything you need. This plane, I always thought it was complete trash because of the people that flew it. And then I started flying it myself, and I got better and better, and I realized all these things I'm about to tell you that just makes it my favorite fucking plane in the game. This plane right here is the only reason I still play this game 8 years later. Like, as you can see, this is... Don't laugh at my stats, I know they're fucking virgin as fuck, but... Where is it? Yeah, time spent in GT Online 224 days. Fucking, I've had this account, the same exact character since I was in 4th grade, so... yeah, no, off topic. But anyways, started flying this thing more, started learning a few tricks, and these tricks led me to believe that it was the best plane in the game. And one of those tricks being, the first one, is that it flies different from pretty much any other plane aside from the Pyro. It's actually pretty much a Pyro with a lower top speed and more firepower. That's pretty much what I've learned. It is pretty much a Pyro with firepower. So it flies with its rudders mainly rather than its other control surfaces. That's mainly because the elevators are so weak. Everything else is fine except for the elevators, which is your pitch, like up and down. But the roll is really fucking good, the braking is good, and the rudders are obviously the best part about it. So with that being the case, if there is a laser on you, and he's actually pretty good, you can literally, how you get on their tail is by flying in the way they can't. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is you put them in a position where they have to use their rudders to get out of something, but obviously their rudders are way weaker than what you have, so you can fly around them and get on their tail easily. So fucking easy. And speaking of experienced laser pilots, this thing can actually handle them. I have a few clips I'm probably going to show you where I actually fight an experienced laser pilot, like a legitimate crew laser pilot, and I beat him. Just the only catch is that this is a high altitude fighter, so when I fought him down low at sea level, fucking he got me pretty easily. So That's one thing. If you're fighting experienced pilots with this plane, you want to bring it at high altitude at all times. Plus, that's where you want to be anyway, because you have more room and get more speed and everything. But it's just like, don't really tangle with anyone down low, especially a fucking B-11, because that's where they shine. So, yeah, just be careful. And another thing with this plane is that the fucking speed, it's just great. Now, there is a catch that it fucking has awful acceleration. You can barely come out of your own stalls sometime with the acceleration, and it takes forever to fucking take off. But it's not really that big of a deal once you actually start moving. It's only big of a deal when you're trying to take off. But the top speed is great. I mean, it has a speed glitch just like the Sea Breeze. It's just not as good because I think the glitch actually, like, it feeds off acceleration. So obviously, naturally, it wouldn't be as good as the Sea Breeze's speed glitch, but it's pretty good. I mean, you can really get moving with the glitch on this, which, you know, it helps a lot, and especially with this thing. It benefits from speed. All the control surface, they respawn harder the faster you go in most cases, but doesn't necessarily mean you want to go fast all the time. Speaking of going fast, if you're going fast, you need a way to slow down, and the brakes are definitely the way to do that on this plane, because the brakes are fucking strong as hell. They throw your character fucking forward in their seats, bro. It brakes so hard, and it makes fucking stall fighting a laser super easy, because it can just brake so much harder. And if you combine it with the strong rudders, you can pretty much hover in midair. So they obviously will stall out, and they have to move somewhere, and you could just literally hover there and wait for them to fucking fall out of their maneuver and go down and just pick them clean. I mean, this thing is just the destroyer of worlds, dude. That was fucking cringe. But yeah, that's it's pretty good for dogfighting, is basically what I'm trying to say. Because obviously you need speed, maneuverability, and brakes in a dogfight. This thing has all of those. Another thing for it is just that the two-seaters, so you can, it's pretty handy if you have friends and they're doing a mission, or if they're in a fight, you can quickly land on the street and pick them up, and you know, take them wherever. And it has ejection seats, so fuck it, you can bail out quickly if you need to. Another thing with it is that it's a propeller plane, obviously with the propeller being on the front, so I'm sure I'll show you a couple of clips here where people that I'm fighting, they bail out of their plane, they just go right to the propellers, there's blood and guts everywhere. It's pretty funny. And with it being a propeller plane, it's super quiet. Like, experienced pilots know if you go in Ghost Organization, they know to listen for the loud jet, and you can literally hear it across the map. So they'll know where you're coming from if you're in like a pyro or a laser, per se. But if you're in the rogue, they can't hear you till you're literally about to fucking crash into them. So it has the stealth, you know, advantage. In daytime, at least. At night, it doesn't really have that much of a stealth advantage because it has the blinking lights everywhere. But it's really not that big of a deal. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's, what more can I say? It's just a great fucking plane. This right here is the only reason I fucking still play this game. It's just so fun. I really wish Rockstar would actually add more aircraft instead of fucking supercars that no one cares about and that everyone will forget in 3 weeks. But I guess people just like to bitch and complain. But it's whatever. But moving on. So now I'm in the air, and just one quick thing before I continue. A lot of people like complain about the turbulence in this plane. But if you open your bomb bay as such, turbulence is completely killed off. You can fly completely straight for as long as you want. So that's the first thing I wanted to get to. But now I'm gonna bring it to full speed here, so I can show you how to maneuver this plane properly, and show you what to and what not to do. Okay, so the first thing you want to make sure you're doing in this plane is have it in the furthest, shut the fuck up, the furthest third person camera. God fucking damn it, really? Anyways, yeah, just have it, your camera like this, and the first no-no of this plane is turning like this, pulling up and turning. That's one of the weaknesses of this plane, is the fucking elevated, so you want to try to negate that. So when you're turning, you always want to kind of dip down and turn like this. See how much quicker that was? And you can obviously get better and better at this, so flick the camera around like that, and that's already 180. Camera around like this. $180. And most of the time when you're doing these maneuvers, you want to have it floored. See if you can keep your speed up, because remember it has very low acceleration, so there's that. You know, it's pretty fucking quick. If you want to accelerate quicker, you can just dive a little bit to get your top speed, which is around 40 knots on there. It's not really 40, but it's around 40 when you're at top speed. It's like 140, I think. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just make sure you're kind of going down, and mainly just go vertical. It's kind of the best way to use it, in a vertical manner like this rather than horizontal. I mean, obviously you gotta do what you gotta do. Horizontal isn't gonna kill anything, but you're gonna get on people's tails by going vertical mainly. Just make sure you're using the rudders at all times, because that's basically what makes the plane good, is the rudders. And yeah, use those brakes if you're about to overshoot them. That's pretty much all there is to it. I guess I'll put in some clips of some dogfights here, so you can kind of see how I use it and how it's the fucking best play in the game. And yeah, peace out and enjoy your day, I guess.